A little while back, we made a video talking about Batman's greatest failure, but today we're going to be talking about what we think is his greatest success.
His greatest success and everything he wishes he was.
Guys, I'm Thomas.
I'm Merlin.
Together we're the Comic Lads, and today we're talking about Dick Grayson.
Just cut out the Grayson. Today we're talking about Dick. But before we get into it, guys, don't forget to like the video, help us break through the mold of YouTube algorithms, and consider subscribing.
Become a fellow Comic Lad. Let's get into it.
So, we've done some different videos in the past talking about Batman's greatest allies, Batman's greatest Robins, and always at the top of these video topics, Dick Grayson seems to have a very strong footing in Batman's life.
Yeah, listen, in the conversation of, greatest Batman characters, greatest Batman allies, what have you, he's always gonna be floating around the top.
Honestly, just in greatest DC heroes.
Yeah.
He's near the freaking top, dude.
He is, and not just objectively, for me in the past few years, he's top 5.
100%.
He's top 5.
100%. He's such a great guy. I know him personally.
He's your boy.
Yeah, he is. And, we've talked about, once again, Batman's greatest allies, and obviously Alfred is Batman's, first, I was about to say, bat helper.
Are you serious, my brother?
But you know what I mean?
That is so demeaning.
He is the one that's kind of been throughout Bruce's life, always there for him.
Yeah.
But in more ways than that, I feel like Dick Grayson was his first partner.
He was. And Damian Glazers will hate to hear this, but he was his first son.
He refers to him as his son.
He is his son.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what anyone
He's
thinks.
his adopted son. And something that I find is really beautiful about Batman and Robin, specifically Dick Grayson's, background and what brought them together, is that both of their trajectories in life were caused by tragedy.
And Bruce was there to witness that tragedy in Dick Grayson's life and took it upon himself to make sure that,
Dick doesn't end up like him.
Exactly. Even though both of their origins are mired in tragedy, he was hell-bent on making sure that Dick Grayson wouldn't end up like him.
And I think Dick is also such a staunch reminder of what Batman's mission is in Gotham.
Yes.
Batman is a character that, like I said just a few moments ago, was born of tragedy, witnessing his parents gunned down in front of him. And I think people sometimes forget that the reason why Bruce became Batman is so this wouldn't happen to anyone ever again. And when he sees Dick Grayson's parents gunned down in front of him, this wasn't something that just happened in the back alley. This was something that the whole world essentially could see.
Yeah.
Everyone in the circus can see in front of them.
Can see the start of, another death of the Waynes, basically. And Batman was like, there is no fucking way in hell that this kid is gonna grow up without having brought his parents' killer to justice.
Which is something that Bruce has never done.
I don't care, whatever stories where it's Joe Chills, whatever, no. Batman did not catch his parents' killer.
And, some might even theorize that that's a big reason as to why he's even Batman in the first place.
Yeah.
Is that he has this thing that he can't move on from because he has no closure.
Yes.
He's never been... Batman is a character that, no matter his successes or failures, he's never healed from that night in Crime Alley.
And he almost chooses not to, because if he would, the world wouldn't have Batman in it. Which, no matter how you feel about Batman, the fucking DC universe would have imploded 28 times
No,
over.
they're cooked. They're cooked without Batman, dude.
Finished.
Absolutely cooked. And so, getting into a bit of the history of Robin, obviously we know things like he's, the first sidekick in comic history.
Yes.
The boy wonder himself. But his stamp on the DC universe's lore doesn't just stop at him being, Batman's first partner.
No, it doesn't. He has taken on so many different roles and evolved so many times throughout his 80 plus years of history, but he still at his core remains almost even more so than Superman, the greatest beacon of light and hope in the DC universe.
Yeah, and as the light of hope, he almost brings that light of hope into Batman's life when he becomes the boy wonder.
Absolutely. Batman becomes so much, less dark and broody and so much happier when he has Robin with him, because no matter what Bruce says about it, he needs a friend and he needs someone to fall back on.
Yeah, because as much as Alfred is a like the strongest ally in his life. He's more so occupying the role of like a father. Do you know what I mean?
A father, and when Batman's out of the cave, he's relegated to being, more of the background. But Robin, as his son and his friend, he's in a really unique position where he can give Batman shit when he needs to hear it, and he can be his shoulder to lean on.
Yeah, and I love also, like, so many people in the DC universe take Bro and Bruce so seriously as the Batman, you know what I mean? Even like Superman, when they're both in costume, they can joke around, but there's always like a level of mutual respect there.
And also like a bit of unnerving feeling, like when other heroes are around Bruce, like even like Bruce's closest friends, they're kind of like, guys, kind of fucking scary.
Yeah, exactly. But like Dick Grayson, being so intimate,
he sees through his like dark brooding facade.
Yeah, and he can joke around with him, you know what I mean? I think Dick Grayson is in a unique spot where he's one of the only characters in Batman's life and the DC universe that can be like, dude, you're just like a brooding guy in a bat costume.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You like stop moping around.
Yeah, like let's put on a Christmas movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Bah humbug to you too.
But I love that, like, Dick is the first time that he makes an exception for not being Batman.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's so many continuities and storylines prior to Bruce meeting Dick where Alfred is like, oh, Master Wayne, take a night off, here's a hot sandwich.
No, the mission.
No, literally. And Dick is like the first time where you could see him kind of relax and showcase more of his human side.
Yes, because he took this responsibility to raise this kid, and he's like, Dick needs a father, and Bruce realizes that he has to sacrifice some of his mission to be his father.
And, we talk about sacrifice, but through Dick's transition into Robin and Batman's transition into having a partner and what to say, servant, but that's completely, and having a son, they both heal each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They both, like we previously said, Bruce will never heal from the trauma he had as a kid. Otherwise, there's a lot of argument to say he wouldn't be Batman.
Yes, but helping Dick heal through his trauma, I feel like takes a little bit of that weight off of his shoulders.
Yeah, because if
he can't do it for himself, at least he can help someone else do it.
Yeah, and I like it too because Batman, up until that point of his life, when does he meet Dick? Like year 2 or year 3? Something like that?
I think it's up for debate depending on what continuity, but I like to go with the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale books and say that it's year 3.
Year 3. And up until that point, his career as Batman, he's kind of like solved a lot of Gotham's problem by just like socking a bad guy in the face and throwing him in Arkham.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But this is such a great intimate story because you can see him help this, orphan kid who's had his whole world shattered because he's able to bring his killer to justice. A lot of that like innocence and hope is still intact.
It's still preserved.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully portrayed in the Young Justice cartoon where Batman is talking with the Justice League and he says Robin needed to bring his parents' killer to justice. And Wonder Woman says,
so he could turn out like you?
So that he wouldn't.
And you're like, that is such a perfect analysis of their relationship.
100%.
And such a great justification as to the people that are like, oh, he's a child soldier. Get the fuck out of here, man. You're reading superhero books. Like,
yeah.
Fuck you.
I hate those arguments. Like, bring those somewhere else, dude. This is a fantastical world where we have fucking lone survivor aliens flying and, lifting buildings.
Yeah, like magic races and shit.
And I also like it, too, because he takes Dick Grayson's grief and he helps him channel it into something good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think a large part of Bruce's life post Martha and Thomas's death, even sometimes Alfred will talk about that period of his life a few years after that. He's only 8 years old and he becomes a very, like, dark, secluded,
guarded person.
Yeah, like young boy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the boy died,
Exactly. But Batman's able to, like, channel Dick Grayson's grief into something more meaningful, you know what I mean?
And positive. And Robin was so popular and such a smash hit among young comic book readers that, eventually some kids just wanted to read about Robin, and they started to make other sidekicks in the DC universe. Wonder Woman had Wonder Woman had Wonder Girl. Green Arrow had Speedy, whose name makes no fucking sense.
I hate that.
I see Flash and Flash Jr.
His name's Speedy? No, Speedy's Green Arrow's sidekick. Well, that makes no sense.
And Robin, because and listen, full disclosure, I haven't read the first appearance of the Teen Titans from 19 whatever, but I like to go off, Young Justice continuity and stuff like that, where Robin is the OG, and in my headcanon, like, the Teen Titans are, like, it's Robin's team.
It is Robin's team.
You know?
Yeah.
It is Robin's team. And giving Robin his own squad of sidekicks is such a fantastic idea.
It's great too because it kind of brings new meaning to the word sidekick.
Yeah.
You know, up until this point, these characters were always directly tied with like their mentors.
Yeah.
And Dick Grayson was kind of the first character, and through forming the Teen Titans, they broke away from that mantle of sidekick. You know what I mean? They became their own unit, their own team, their own
Force.
Their own force, yeah.
Absolutely. And it's also such a heartwarming and endearing concept because Bruce, you know, never had a childhood. He had some friends, you know, he had Tommy Elliott, but they drifted apart. You know, he didn't really have a high school experience. He didn't grow up and have an adolescence and stuff like that. But Dick Grayson did, and it's because of Bruce. And, you know, like, the Teen Titans are a superhero team, but they're also just Dick's friends, you know? It's like, after school, what does he do? He goes and chills with his friends at
They're homies.
At Titan's Tower.
Yeah.
And it's such a, I don't know, it just makes my heart happy.
Yeah, it's great. Coming from the Batman world, Batman will have allies, and obviously you have World's Finest, you know, he has good friends, but you never really get to see that kind of actual deep friendship banter, and like,
You don't.
you know, combined also with the kind of childhood innocence and that these kids have within the team, you know what I mean?
And this makes for such a great team dynamic.
And you know, his independency and kind of leadership qualities that he brings to the Teen Titans team, I feel like in a lot of ways leads him to
The gain confidence.
and in some ways outgrow the mantle that Batman has provided him with.
And of course, we're talking about Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing. What a spectacular idea. And I want to talk quickly about how the identity of Nightwing came into be. I love that it's intrinsically tied to Superman.
Yeah.
You know about that? Because, like, Dick Grayson doesn't really want to be Robin anymore. And listen, he worked for Batman, but his favorite superhero was always Superman.
Yeah.
Because he just resonates with him more. He's more of that type of hopeful, kind character. And when he's thinking about breaking out on his own and becoming his own man on the superhero scene, Superman tells him a story about these Kryptonian, like this legend about these Kryptonian vigilantes called Nightwing and Flamebird. And it inspires Dick to take that name and that mantle and make it his own. And I just love that so much. I love that Superman had just as much of an impact on his identity as Batman did.
And he's kind of like, if we're talking about those like two character tropes of Batman and Superman, Nightwing's kind of like a perfect fusion of them both.
He is.
You know what I mean?
He's got the heart and the hope and the love that Superman has for everyone.
But the world of Batman.
But the world and the dark costume and the fucking gritty coolness that Batman
I know.
has.
It's so great. And this is why he's one of the best natured characters.
But he can also be hard as fuck when he needs to.
Yeah. And I like too how thematically his transition into Nightwing also makes him the protector of a different city.
Yes.
You know, Bloodhaven.
A city that's in some depictions like even darker and in a worse place than Gotham is.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Detroit of the DC universe. I don't know, but you know what I mean? It's considered like very like run down.
Yeah.
Very like the economy is just like down the freaking gutter there.
Yeah, it's even more corrupt in every infrastructure than Gotham is.
But like Gotham has all the crazies, you know what I mean? It has like the Riddler, Penguin, all those kind of colorful characters.
It does, but Gotham also has Commissioner Gordon, and Bloodhaven doesn't. And I think Commissioner Gordon, there's still all kinds of corruption all throughout Gotham, but I think Commissioner Gordon is the dam that holds that at bay, and Bloodhaven doesn't have that. So it's even like it's even more of an uphill battle for Nightwing in his own stories when he's trying to fight the corruption of Bloodhaven.
And I want to bring up specifically a story that you've very graciously been lending me.
Yeah, of course.
The new run with Nightwing, you know, Nightwing Leap into the Light.
Yeah, by Tom Taylor. I can't believe it's ending, guys. Don't spoil it for us in the comments because we're reading it by the trade.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to wait like
Not issue by issue.
fucking year to read it. But Tom Taylor and the work that he's done on Nightwing for this character, it's sublime.
It's great. And there's one part about it that I think doesn't really get talked about enough, and it doesn't get highlighted enough. And that's the fact that, you know, the story, a quick story premise about it, Nightwing is left a freaking sizable inheritance by Alfred.
Yeah, like he's a billionaire now.
Yeah.
A multi-billion.
It's also just crazy to think that like Alfred has just been like he's just been rolling in it. And I last
And I love it because it's like, yeah, of course Bruce gave him fucking billions of dollars that he deserved. I just thought of like, in Falcon and Winter Soldier where Falcon says like that Tony Stark wasn't paying them. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but I love how it's also like that the money doesn't affect Alfred's character. No. Like despite like how rich he is, he's still there to help Bruce on his mission. But anyway, Dick gets this inheritance, and the first thing he decides to do with it is open up a foundation to help Bloodhaven.
The Pennyworth Foundation.
Which, like, Batman, there's always different moments in stories where it's like, oh, brute, like, there's all these great Wayne foundations across the world helping people.
Yeah.
But you never really get to see it, like...
You don't. And, like...
In action.
They are there, but it's not what you're buying the new issue of Batman for, you know?
Yeah, but you don't see that.
You don't
even though you know it's happening.
But for Nightwing, you do. And it's so lovely to see him not only be a hero by night as Nightwing, but a hero by day as Dick Grayson.
That's so true. Like, every issue, you're tuning in to see not only what he's doing in his night life, but also in his day life, trying to rebuild and preserve and strengthen Bloodhaven.
Yeah, and help, disenfranchised kids, like, have homes and stuff. And it's oh, man, I love Nightwing so much, man.
Yeah, he's great.
He's so sick.
And, like, previous to that in the timeline, Nightwing is in such a great spot as a character, because he can be that hopeful, light in Batman's life. But at other points in, DC's continuity, he's even become Batman.
And, off the top of your head, you're like, I don't know if he really has it in him. Oh yeah, he does. Dick as Batman was fucking awesome.
Yeah, but he's not Bruce Batman.
He's not.
He's his own flavor of Batman.
He is. He, will like say hi to the commissioner, I feel.
Yeah, there's moments like in this book, Batman Black Mirror, which when I bought it, I didn't know it was a Dick story until you were like, oh, Black Mirror, that's a great Dick Grayson story. And I was like, what?
You're like, what?
No. Well, not what? No, but I was like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then you open it up and like, there's this hilarious moment, bro, where he meets up with Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gordon's like talking to him just like he would with Bruce, you know what I mean? I think he knows that it's not Bruce.
For sure.
But like, he's just like, it's Batman, whatever.
Yeah.
Dog with him. And they're talking with each other. And Jim Gordon turns around, he's giving him some information, and he turns back and he's like, he looks at him and Dick is like, what? And he's like, oh, it's nothing. It's just like weird that you're still here.
Yeah.
Because he's so used to just like getting ghosted mid-conversation by Bruce. You know what I mean?
So good. And he's just like, no, we're still talking.
Yeah, we're like, it's not done. We're still exchanging information. He's like, oh, right.
Yeah, I love that you still see his personality bleed through the Batman mask, But he also has it in him to, like, delve into that Batman energy, like, where, like, James Gordon Jr. is like, oh, like, we're playing hide and seek. He's gonna kill Barbara, and then, like, Dick's behind him. He's like, can I play too? And you're like, yeah, he knows how to be Batman.
But at the same time, in his run as Batman, there's different points where this mantle takes a toll on him. Mm-hmm. And you realize, this is exactly the theme of this video. Dick Grayson is everything that Batman wishes he can be, because Dick can't be Batman.
He can't.
He can be something more than him.
And he doesn't want to be Batman, which I love, and which they also expertly depict again in Young Justice, where he says, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be Batman, but seeing what it does and like how consumed Bruce is by the mission,
I don't want to be the Batman anymore.
And you're like, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's just us, guys. Let us know your thoughts on Dick Grayson down below.
If you enjoyed our discussion, guys, leave a like on the video. It really helps us out. Subscribe if you have not already. Become one with us. And we'll see you next time.
We love you.
We love you so very much.
We love you like how Bruce loves Dick.
Yeah. You guys are our adopted son.
All right. We'll see you next time, Chad.
Peace.
Peace. Peace. I don't know which one goes first.